Hello, I'm Vegas Vic, and today I want to talk to you about quite a serious subject. Now, I know that recently I have posted some humorous videos on my channel here, and I most certainly hope that they have been humorous. But today, the subject that I want to talk to you about is actually quite serious, and that has to do with the recent interview by the Las Vegas mayor, Carolyn Goodman, on CNN with Anderson Cooper. Now, a lot of people have commented on that particular interview and on the mayor's attitude towards reopening Nevada and the casinos and how she came off. And I want to add my 2 cents worth to this debate. I don't want to criticize the mayor or the interview or those who have decided to jump on the bandwagon and tell everybody how foolishly the mayor came off on that interview. There are some good points and some bad points, but first thing I want to say is that I was disappointed in the way that Mayor Goodman treated that interview. She didn't come off as articulate, didn't come off as intelligent, and didn't come off as knowledgeable. She seemed to have been confrontational with Anderson Cooper and seemed to have spent a great deal of time arguing over points on which she herself was not very clear. Now, it's easy, as I said, to jump on the bandwagon and criticize somebody that has decided to be in the public life and to say something that is perhaps considered by the majority as controversial or perhaps unintelligent. But in defense of our mayor, Carolyn Goodman, I would like to say that our governor, Steve Sisolak, at least in my opinion, somewhat overreacted in the way that his decisions have impacted the entire city of Las Vegas, Clark County, and the entire state of Nevada. By shutting down all of the casinos and all of the related supply chains and industries, manufacturers and support personnel and so forth, I think was a little bit short-sighted in light of the infection rates and percentages that impact the state of Nevada in particular. In our state, the state of Nevada, the infection rate is about 0.001% of the population. The death rate is about 165 individuals, I believe. I'm not quite sure. I don't have the figures right in front of me, and I don't remember them from the news broadcast. And every death is tragic. And I don't want to minimize or diminish the tragedy that is befalling everybody in the United States and in the world. But in the state of Nevada, percentage-wise, the figures are infinitesimal, while the damage to the economy is enormous. What I think is the problem here is that the wealthy people, those who are either retired and have a good portion of a nest egg laid away, are not that affected by the state shutting down. The politicians certainly are not affected because they're still getting their paychecks. And the wealthy people and the billionaire owners of most of the casino corporations, well, they're not the ones suffering. So when Governor Sisolak shut down the entire state, he caused the greatest economic damage to the people who could afford it the least. These are the hourly workers, the service industry workers, the casino employees, all of those people who rely on the industry to be there so that they can have a decent living for themselves and for their families. These people now are trying to file for unemployment in the millions, but it is nearly impossible to get through to the websites because they are not built to handle this kind of a crisis and this kind of influx of so many people trying to apply at the same time. So meanwhile, the rents are coming due, the bills are still due, the power companies still send out the bills, they're all computerized, so the bills keep coming. And the people that are most affected by them are those that can least afford this shutdown. So in a way, our mayor, Carolyn Goodman, was trying to say that what should have happened is instead of shutting down the entire state, what we should have done is taken some of these proactive steps to keep it open. For example, shortly before the governor announced the statewide closure of all casinos, I was in touch with some of my many friends in the casino business, and here is what they were already doing. In the poker rooms, instead of having 9 or 10 players per table, we only had 5, so that there was enough of a distance between every player so that they can continue to play and not be in close proximity. On the slot machine floor, every other or every 2 machines were shut down and were dark. So this meant that anybody who wanted to go play the slots could play them by themselves and be quite a distance away from any other person who might be sitting nearby playing another machine. And for blackjack players, instead of having 7 positions on the blackjack table, casinos were already limiting them to either 4 or 3 players per blackjack table. Now, this kind of proactivism was prevalent and already present amongst all of the casino operators, or at least most of them, at least those that I spoke with prior to the governor's decision to shut down the entire industry and the entire state. And these are the exact kind of steps that I think the mayor was trying to say, but unfortunately did not say it quite articulately or quite as well as I believe she could have. And this is the same principle that I think should be in place for when the industry opens. Simply put, it's not necessary to keep everything closed for this long. All we have to do is make sure that we keep in mind what is obviously working, and that is this social distancing and cleanliness. And that means that when we reopen the casinos, and we should do that soon to reopen the industry, we should simply limit the slot machines to every machine being separated by 2 empty or turned down or turned off machines on either end. So if you're sitting in one machine, the 2 slot machines to your left and the other 2 to your right will be turned off so that there is enough space between you and the next player. And as I said before, in poker tables we can have 5 players instead of 10. In blackjack we can have 3 players instead of 7. Or 4 players instead of 7. And at craps tables, instead of having 10 or 15 people, we can limit it to 6 players at a craps table. And the same goes for roulette or any of the other casino games. In bingo parlors, we can easily sit players 6 feet apart. In keno lounges, we can easily sit players 6 feet apart. The entire industry does not have to be shut down, did not have to be shut down, and does not have to continue to be shut down. And we can reopen the state much faster and get all the people in Las Vegas and in the state of Nevada back to work, including the support industries, the manufacturers, the suppliers, the restaurateurs, the waiters, the dealers, the cleaning staff, everybody. And we will practice hygiene. The casinos are always very proactive. As I mentioned in one of my other videos, every casino provides you with alcohol wet naps. You can easily get those from the casino cage and keep them and clean your hands, clean the slot machine buttons or handles, clean your chips. Everything is already being provided, and those steps have already been taken by the casinos proactively before the state was shut down. So I ask on behalf of all Nevadans for Governor Steve Sisolak to please reopen the state, perhaps in stages, but open the casinos first, because they are the lifeblood of this industry and this state and this city. And I hope that all of you watching this, please don't be so harsh on our mayor, Carolyn Goodman. She tried, I believe, in the best of intentions, but did not, unfortunately, come across that way. And I'm sure she's sorry and sad about that, and we should all be grateful that she had the guts to step up and say something. And I hope you're not mad at me for taking this time or this long to say my piece. It is my opinion and my only. And I hope some of you will perhaps agree with me. And those of you that don't, I am in no way attempting to endanger you or incite anything. I simply wish to say that there are many ways in which we can all survive this pandemic and still retain our sanity, our income, and our values as human beings, because we're all in the same boat, but we need to get back to work. So thank you very much for viewing and listening to my opinion. Perhaps you might think it was a rant, but I hope that at least I said something valuable. So thank you very much for your time, and as always, I wish you health and safety, and I'd like to welcome you back to Las Vegas and to the state of Nevada as soon as that becomes possible. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the casino, hopefully very soon. So long.